Okay, if there's one thing I know about, it's meat. Well, let me get more specific. My dad was a meathead. He was a head of meat for a supermarket chain. I worked in the supermarket. Visit omahasteaks.com if you like meat and things like it, and enter keyword Saget in the search bar to order the mouth-watering Let's Go grill package today. Not only are you going to get great savings, you're going to get the tasty bonus of 12 ultra juicy Omaha steak burgers free. That's almost 4 pounds of free burgers, 4 pounds of meat, people. To top it off, you also get $20 off on your first order. Anyway, here's to warmer days filled with fun family memories and epic backyard grill outs featuring the best steak of your life. And it's guaranteed. So go to omahasteaks.com and use the code SAGET, S-A-G-E-T, in the search bar. And for a limited time, you get 12 free Omaha steak burgers and $20 off at checkout on your first order. That's omahasteaks.com, keyword Saget. Hey, nice people of the world. It's Bob Saget here. In France, Robert Saget. And this is the first time I've ever had a guest for the second time because we're friends and I just love him so much that I asked him to do this again because we can have playtime. You know, comedians are, well, I'm 65 almost, and Joel's like, I don't know what he is, 20. But Joel McHale, who I love so much because he's so funny, and I've known him since pre-Talk Soup. And, you know, I've always riffed with him and loved it. And so that's what comedians are like. It's like, hey, a friend, a 9-year-old, a 10-year-old, except we're grown men. And I never learned, but I have learned. I'm not the same as I used to be. So with a lot of love, I get to tell you to rate, review, subscribe, you know, a lot of love. And, you know, do that. Or follow if you're on that platform. Depends on what platform you're on. If you're at the train station, just stay on the platform. Don't do anything till the train comes. And wishing you all good stuff. Sending you all my best. And without any further ado, let's bring in a guy you all know because he's on TV literally every day. And he's in a ton of movies. Every day, another movie. Here comes my friend. I can't wait to talk to him. I need this release. This is a long release, which I need. I don't think this one might be for kids. So I would say use your judgment. I wouldn't let a 12-year-old or a 14-year-old listen to this because people that like are on TikTok, the kids, not the adults like me and a lot of people like Jack Black and stuff who does adorable things on there. But this is, or Howie Mandel, my friend, who does adorable things on there. But this is more adult, I think. So 15 and up, 16 and up, something like that. If you're under that, you don't understand. So I don't want you to think bad things. It's just our humor, and it won't be directed at anybody because we are people that love people. So here he is, a guy that loves people and a guy that I love, Joel McHale.
Yeah.
Joel.
Look at us.
Look at us. And you're you're busy. I am too. I just came from a Pilates lesson.
Oh, crap.
That's what I did during it. It's really hard. When I got those springs and I'm pushing on springs, I crap.
If you told 30-year-old Bob Saget that he would be regularly going to Pilates, what would you say to yourself?
Well, I told in the intro of this particular episode, because you're the first guest and probably only guest that I'm having a second time because I love you so much and because you have incredible biceps. And they have grown. If you look at your last, and we're losing Conan to TBS, but HBO Max is about to inherit him, so I don't think he's crying. But he's wonderful, and you looked so good. And then if you look even at your last appearance on Conan, your biceps, they're an inch wider. And now you're flaunting them more, but I'm fine with it because I have I am presently, when we're done with this podcast, I am going to take a picture of myself with no shirt on, a la the Will Smith quarantine tubby weight, and I'm going to airbrush the shit out of it. I'm not going to have nipples. I'm going to make myself something. I don't know what it'll be.
That sounds terrifying.
Yeah.
And even if you were like Mark Wahlberg recently now chiseled, or Will Smith clearly, an extra 15.
He still looks great. He looks great.
Right. And if with no nipples, people are going to think you're either some sort of god or alien or something horrible. Like you're from The Wall, the movie.
It's Gumby had sex with a Teletubby.
I have to give Will Smith a lot of credit because he put that. Everyone's like, "Isn't it great?" He showed, and then it just all tied into the diet he's probably being paid millions of dollars for. It's like, worship my life. What am I gonna do about that?
Maxi drink.
I
It's the Joe Rogan diet. I own every product that helped me chisel.
Yeah, gosh,
but you're that guy. You're that guy too. I mean, you don't do power products, right? You don't do any of that.
I would love to, and who's ever watching or listening to this, I'm open. I'm ready. No matter how toxic or what Chernobyl water that they're pouring into some vessel for me to drink, I'll do it. That's fine. You're
not going to sell contraceptive stuff. That you're not going to sell, right?
No.
Exactly.
That's an abomination to God.
That is your belief system, and
which is also the name of my diet drink, Abomination of God.
And it's also the name of your next special.
Yes. Oh, I should. It's not a bad idea.
No, it's not, because anything with God in it is going to bring so many people to the program.
True. I didn't think about that. Okay, so you really did Pilates.
I did. I just finished, and that is not her name. Kelly is in the house, my wife. I used to do that joke and never got a laugh, but I didn't stop because, I don't know, but I know you for a long time, and it's going to be longer because you're going to watch me die. I want you at hospice when I'm 105. I want you there by my side working out with my leg.
That's fine.
Lift my weathered corpse.
If you can die in a gym, that would be great. Because I don't want to bring all that stuff in. Because for someone who's dying, all it takes is a couple of that medical heroin, and we can put you anywhere.
There was a product. I had a trainer. So you said to me at the start, if I could talk to my 30-year-old Bob Saget.
Yes.
And you do that a lot. You have an interesting philosophy, which is one of the things I love about you, which is you do try to look at yourself from the outside, that your life. You try to look at it like, my story, I didn't think that this would ever be like this. And you say it, it's a cool thing. How did you acquire that? When did you start thinking that way?
Oh, well, don't you feel like, well, maybe not, but don't you feel like most, I don't know, comedians are constantly berating themselves about, I think it comes from, like, if jokes, you're not sure if a joke is working, and then that philosophy extends to every part of your life, where like, I don't know if this is working. I'm going to try it again. Maybe I'll tweak it.
I did that with marriage.
Oh, and that's why you've only been married once, right?
I've been married. This is my second marriage, and it took me 24 years to get married again.
And in Hollywood, marriage, that's barely, I mean, you're still below average by a mile. So
I know. And it's really weird. I get shit sometimes because Kelly's younger than me. But all my girlfriends were. And there's a thing in the Full House clause that John Stamos and Dave Coulier also binded themselves to, which is the wife must be 23 years younger. But at 65, I don't seem 65. I don't have the mind of a 65-year-old.
No, 85. I agree. I completely agree.
I needed to talk to you so bad. I needed to laugh so bad. Thank you for doing this. How busy are you? You are so busy.
Well, Bob, I say no to nothing. And
you wouldn't do a contraceptive ad or promotion.
Oh, if I look, now that I've had 2 minutes to think about it, I'm in, and I'm fine with it. Like a goat skin, something or other.
7 figures, 7 inches. That's how you work it.
That's it. I'll definitely, no, people always think they're like, you're so busy. I'm like, I literally as you probably know, I say no to nothing. And B, growing up as a kid, I had like a newspaper route at one point. I had a weeding service.
Right.
I just did like 20 things because I just wanted the money. And and I don't know where it all went, but that's how I see it now, because many actors and comedians, I think my last job has just happened. So when jobs come up, I'm like, this is great. Can you believe it's happening again? Oh,
it is weird that no matter what, and it doesn't happen to everybody, but I do go through that where like every 7 years I'll have some giant surge that happens and I'll do like 5 things at once. And then I'll go, I did stuff when I was younger and never thought I would work again. And it just is, but then the next day you get a phone call,
I think it's the transient part of entertainment is that rare. I mean, how often does something like, I don't know, Gunsmoke or Big Bang Theory or a late night show where you all of a sudden have constant work forever?
Yeah.
It just does not, as you know, it seems like it happens a lot because the people are watching it on television and stuff, but
right.
It doesn't usually go down that way. So you have the same mentality as you did when you were 18, when you're starting out, going, I just am trying to avoid getting a real job. And I think people take that. I've taken that. I probably unhealthily so have taken that philosophy to, almost the age of 50. So
You're 49 now?
I am 32. How dare you?
I said you were 25 in the intro, I think.
Yeah, I'm not. That's very not. No, I'm 49 until November. And then,
do you want me to hold the episode till then?
That would be great.
So we'll promote your birthday, because
this is great. I have a lot of surgery scheduled, a lot of HGH to take. You
got to get your jaw fixed. There's a famous actor that had his jaw redone. We're not going to say names because why do that? And you should get your jaw
Matt
broken.
Damon. What?
That's the Kimmel approach. It's always good when you can make him the punchline.
Who had their jaw done? I have no idea.
Some guy, some good-looking guy.
You'll have to tell me later.
Yeah, it looked like chin implants that were put in. I mean, look what I would have done to myself. My God, would have had my head smashed in a vice. I would have had my nose made a button. I would have ended up, I would have done all kinds of shit to myself.
Really?
I know. I don't do scarring well. I had my appendix out when I was 21. It did not scar well. It's kind of like, it looks kind of like an anus in a way. They didn't close it up.
Is it an anus?
Yeah.
That's great for flying.
I have 2 anuses. One removes all the protein and one removes all the vegan stuff.
You're like a cow.
Not very much. We've lost 4 more listeners. I think more than that. So let's bring them back with how great you look.
Wow, you really steered it around. And I want to compliment you on your background.
It's just a little desk area.
Well, you don't have any of your Emmys displayed, which is
right.
Shows a lot of humility.
Yeah.
You have a weird.
I melted them down. They weren't mine, but I melted them down and I made a small golden calf and I sent it to Florida.
You to the state or
no, just to a specific residence.
Oh.
I don't know. I want to give. It's like 10 Commandments. I want to pray to the golden calf. It's
how many Emmys do you have?
None. But what's right there is a thing that's it's a NAPTE award. I got the TV Hall of Fame award or something from the Academy of Television. I don't got no Emmy. I have a Student Academy Award.
Yeah, but you should have gotten an award for having 2 shows on at once.
No, you get hated for that.
Well.
And loved and beloved, but
by people in the industry going like, "Hey, give us a chance."
Well, I was comics. I'd go to the Comedy Store and someone would Saget, give me one of your shows while he's getting high,
Right.
Well, you had 2 shows on at the same. You have 9 shows on at the same time right now.
Thank you for saying that. You had 2 shows on the same network, which was
that was thanks to Bob Iger, who's Walt Disney now, except not Frozen. And Ted Harbert, and they put me on they saw me on Johnny Carson showing a video of my wedding, and that's why, and narrating it, and they said this guy can host a video show and he's on one of our sitcoms, and everybody thinks he's nice, but we know him.
Wow, and Ted Harbert kept me on the air,
and that was what show?
That was The Soup. Ted Harbert is
he was running E.
He doesn't get enough credit because he was the one that, greenlit the Kardashians, Chelsea, of course, Joan.
So there's all credit there.
Well, he gets a lot, but for creating, for keeping the brand and extending the brand. But with the soup, he was always like, you got to make fun of us. You have to make fun of us.
Right.
Don't make fun of us. There's no show. And I was like, exactly. And there was one time when an executive, we were referring to E as the network. And the executive said, you can't do that. And so I said that in an article, and I said, I think, is there anything they won't let you say? And I was like, I couldn't refer to the network as And Ted read that and went through the roof. He was like, who said that? Absolutely say it. Say it this week. And we're like, all right, Ted, thank you. And he really championed the show and built the network. And then it all fell apart after that.
Well, you were on that. And I think that's where we met, was when I would just stop by and you were excited I was coming by, and I was like, he's excited I'm coming by? What?
Well, you seem to not give yourself credit that you're, television royalty. So
I don't, because you said, where are your Emmys? And I got a Rodney Dangerfield UCLA Brain Center award right there. So
how about Steve Carell doesn't have an Emmy and was on one of the greatest shows of all time?
Well, Steve Carell should have an Oscar too. I mean, he is one of the greatest talents alive.
All the Emmys. He should have the ridiculous, huge Emmys that they use as stage. As part of the stage. He should definitely have that. Yeah, and he's one of those guys that has only gotten better looking as he's gotten older, which disturbs me. And I believe he dabbles in the dark arts.
He's into black magic and has a dungeon, but you are also looking better as you get older. And I took 12 pounds off of my head in the past 2 years. If you look at me on the interweb, you can see I had a volleyball head for a while.
What was going on with your head?
I don't know. I guess whatever alcohol or whatever I drank just went right to my head. The rest of my body was svelte and beautiful. My head just filled with fluid.
Were you drinking bees?
Yeah.
That's what was doing it. You were getting that's bad for you.
Can we start an improv workshop and just start inviting people that?
Oh, why don't we charge people? Let's really go like $500 an hour. This is great. Just be terrible human beings. I would do an improv shop, but I feel like those young kids, they think about 80 times faster than people who are older than 45.
It is amazing. When Whose Line was on television, one night they did it at the Improv, and Robin went up and I went up, and Drew was not part of it then, I don't think. I don't know if he hadn't been, I don't know if he was there at the beginning, but I went up and it was all of those people, and and I also went up one time in the main room at the Comedy Store with them. It was, I did the Groundlings for a year workshops, but they were astonishing. It's astonishing. What a craft.
Yeah, yes, there's some of the, obviously there's some of the best that the earth has ever created.
Yeah.
But that's also not obviously as a comic, you have to you're always improvising, but they've definitely developed that muscle to a point of like they're professional basketball players that they can.
Stephen Merchant, the British version, he also has that incredible facility, and he's a great actor also. So those guys, I used to do tons of improv, and I think I was always like, if I could get on that show, and then I didn't. You did though. First thing, how long was the soup on? How many years that you're claiming you didn't have a career, but you did? You had.
Thank you. 12 years. And then they
12 years. Oh, what boo-hoo? What really? If you're going to look at yourself, if you could have told Joel McHale at 35 years old that he'd be on for 12 years on the soup. Oh,
true. I would be, I'd say, oh, good. Wow. Look at you.
A lot of freedom, a lot of latitude, a lot of riffing.
Yeah. A lot of messing around. And when I screwed up, we could stop.
Yeah. And you were nice. You weren't a douche. And when I did America's Funniest Home Videos, there were times when you give a 30-year-old 2 shows and then by the time he's 33, they're in the top 10. or they start performing. And that, again, Ted Harbert, dear friend and lover of funny people that riffed. He talked like that. He talked like us.
Yeah.
He would riff. I'm sure you went to dinner with him, and he was, it was just fun. But and we could use some more of that, a little more people like that play a little bit.
But you were never me.
I sometimes, I think, because I was so focused and I was working like 90 hours a week, which you can relate to, and I appreciated it because I'd waited for 15 years to try to get a job. Been doing stand-up since I was 17. So
yeah, I think people sometimes erroneously think, oh, well, that's just something you kind of do, unless you're like the legendary ones, like, oh, you just kind of do your thing and then you get a job and you get like a nice house, and it's like, no, I worked my ass off.
Right.
And you miss the thousands of days and rejections and all that stuff. And and then, when you get those jobs, you're like, I'm going to fight so hard to make sure it's quality and do everything I can to keep it on the air. And then you can turn to very heavy drugs.
You never had a big drug phase. I don't think you did at all, maybe.
No, as long as that drug is red wine, then I'm okay.
Right.
I enjoy that. It's not cheap, but that's my definite.
You can get very cheap red wine.
Well,
if that's true. What's keeping you from drinking gallons of it a day.
Well, no, it doesn't. It doesn't stop me. But the difference between you just have to look for the good stuff, and there's a lot of crap. Thank you. This is Wine Hour.
Are you selling wine? You do have booze on your posts, don't you? You have wonderful alcohol.
I have a lot. Yes. If people were to see how much I have, they'd be like, this person has a horrible problem. It's also, I'm a hoarder, and I always, again, have the same mentality that somehow I literally can go, well, if the apocalypse hits, I'll be set for scotch. And what?
Do you have frozen meat? A lot of frozen meat?
I have a lot of frozen meats.
Do you do the OMAHA Steaks? They're one of my sponsors.
I just got OMAHA Steaks.
I got
delivered by drone.
They in a styrofoam thing.
You think I'm joking? And watch this. That.
Oh wait, did you post this?
Yes, I did.
That's why I know. Show us. People will flip to the YouTube. My millions of subscribers.
That's how.
That is how
they are.
Look at that. And they're damn good.
Yeah, the boxes even taste good.
I ate the box.
The boxes are brined.
Wow. You know how to brine, too. You know how to wrap something in twine. You'd be a great cannibal.
Thank you. I agree. I would start with the brain because I'm a big Temple of Doom fan.
And Hannibal Lecter. That was in
Now, are you actually sponsored by Omaha Steaks?
Yeah, they're one of them.
You got the sponsorship, did they say, we have 4 metric tons of meat we would like to drop off? And you're like, yes, I'll take a few steaks, but I can't take the 4 cows worth.
I don't have what many people have, which is the extra freezer in the garage. I do not have that. So there was a second delivery that I didn't think was going to come because they accidentally sent it to my business manager's office. And you can't do that, but my business manager messengered it. But anyway, I got a lot of meat.
I'm amazed that your business manager didn't, include, take some for themselves.
They are one of the few that so far, after being with them 35 years, I have not been ripped off.
35 years.
So they gave me, they would get my meat right to me. Because meat, my dad, that was his business. My dad, here's something upsetting that you never want to see. And I was 9. My dad wanted to show me where he worked. My dad was an executive of the Food Fair Pantry Pride supermarkets, and he took me to a slaughterhouse. And
when you were 9?
When I was 9. And it's just everything that is wrong about everything. And they didn't put them down like the smart people do now. And nobody wants to hear about this because it's upsetting no matter what you do.
But your dad's logic was,
I'm going to take your son to work day.
Hey, Bobby, come here. This is where.
It was. I won't even describe it to the listeners because it was not. People go, let's get back to the kinder, gentler times. I mean, hunting is kinder and gentler than what I saw when you see a conveyor belt type of thing. But
where was this? What city? I
was in Norfolk, Virginia, but it must have been somewhere in Virginia. And then
was he like, wasn't that fun? Now burgers.
I don't remember what we did afterward because I was traumatized. I literally had PTSD from it.
Did you stop eating steak after that?
No, because my mom was such a bad cook. I would a steak at least, and my blood is B positive. I've always been like a meat kind of person.
Do you cook?
I do. I can. I'm an excellent barbecuer. I'm not like you. I mean, my God.
Thank you.
That's why you asked.
No, I feel like there's still. Now, do you cook often?
No. My wife, Kelly, it's kind of what she does.
Go to her Instagram because it is really nice.
Eat, Travel, Rock. And she got excited when you started following her. And I thought, wait a minute. Maybe he's thinking about swinging. And
oh, wow. Yes. And I've tried many times to have sex with you.
That's what I was exactly going to go to. We're going to take a quick break because we've already talked forever. But
yeah, I need a break.
Watch this.
The quadrilla, yes.
I cut you off 3 times. Say it again.
No. We need to take a break.
Okay, here it is.
We'll be right back with more Omaha Steaks sponsored Bob Saget show. Is that how you say it in French?
Okay, this is a sponsorship that is paid for by our sponsor, BetterHelp. I believe in this. I believe in therapy. I believe in taking care of your mental health. We are in a time more than ever where people really need to take care of themselves and take care of their minds as well as their bodies. But there are a lot of things that hold us back. Is something interfering with your happiness? Is something preventing you from achieving your goals? I've had that so many times in my life. I've been in my own way so many times in my life. I've said the wrong thing. I wish I could roll the clock back for things I've done. BetterHelp can help you get through things like that. They will assess your needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist. You connect in a safe and private environment online. It's so convenient, you can start communicating in under 48 hours. This is not a crisis line. It's not self-help. It is professional counseling done securely online. Send a message to your counselor anytime. You'll get timely and thoughtful responses. Plus, you can schedule weekly video or phone sessions, all without ever having to sit in an uncomfortable waiting room. BetterHelp is committed to facilitating great therapeutic matches, so they make it easy and free to change counselors if needed. It's more affordable than traditional offline counseling, and financial aid is available. The service is available for clients worldwide. Find the particular expertise you need online. Don't limit yourself to the counselors located near you. Licensed professional counselors who are specialized in depression, stress, anxiety, relationships, sleeping, trauma, anger, family conflicts, LGBT matters, grief, self-esteem. Anything you share is confidential. It's convenient, professional, affordable. Just check out the testimonials posted daily on their site. This is not a crisis line. In fact, so many people have been using BetterHelp that they are recruiting additional counselors in all 50 states. I want you to start living a happier life today. And as a listener, you'll get 10% off your first month by visiting our sponsor, BetterHelp, at betterhelp.com/Bob. Join over 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health. Again, that's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Bob. Thanks. And we're back.
With Bob, with Bob Saget. I'm trying to think. My first name is an old Hebrew name, and my last name is Irish, so I don't know how that would go together.
How did you get the Hebrew name up front?
My parents just wanted to, hedge all their bets just in case I decided to convert. You never know. They literally just thought we were looking through a book of names and they thought it was neat. So there wasn't any great sort of like, they literally like, oh, you don't hear people named Joel too much. And then I was Joel.
It's a great name.
It's just one sound. And I was born in Italy. Thank you. And
what street? No, that's the oldest comic joke in the world. What city?
Oh, in Montemario, which is a hill in Rome.
We have to go to dinner. My wife's half Sicilian. You know which half. But the thing is, you can't do jokes like that. I meant the half that is a good cook. That's what I meant.
I like
People
how you immediately flag your jokes.
I have to. They're coming after me. People, young people especially, when they look at social media, if they watch something from years ago, like a roast, for example, if they're on YouTube, there's the roast up there on the top up there. So
there
that's
it is.
Right. So people said terrible stuff about me because that's what a roast is. And I don't like roasts. Have you done any of the Comedy Central roasts?
I have never done. I have, no, I've been asked to, and I, at one point, was going to do Alec Baldwin's, but then I booked a movie. And so then I had to drop out, which Alec called me and I was like, oh, this is, and I said, Mr. Baldwin, please let me do this movie. If it's any consolation, in the movie, I get skewered with a hot poker and then shot in the back. And he was like, that's about right, Joel. So yes.
So that's what he wanted to do that to you.
Yeah, I felt terrible, but because I really wanted to do it because I like him very much.
Right.
But that's it. I've never done them. I've never done one. And I know when I see now the needles that get threaded in doing them, it's very impressive when you see people nail it. I mean, Nikki Glaser always comes to mind because the clips always seem to be coming up and I'm like, damn, that's well written.
And Greg Giraldo, who was on mine, was kind of the master. And my friend Jeff Ross, who is really good at it.
Funny. But you're right in that if you go back in time and see some of the jokes that got made,
they would never be done now. I wasn't thrilled with the ones on mine because I didn't want them done, but I didn't do them.
Yeah.
And
did you think, because obviously like with the old Sinatra roasts and Dean Martin era, they didn't seem I feel like they started out like that. And then at some point, then it was like, I'm going to say things that are so brutal and crazy that I'm going to be, no one's going to forget what I'm about to say.
It's actually the opposite. I'm gonna give you a tiny bit of comedic. When I was history, when I was like 12, I got a hold of some tapes of old Maskers roasts, which was not the Friars. And I would hear Jack Benny and George Burns and Jack Benny going, and I told her to go fuck herself. And I'm like, what? And then it's like, it was around when Lenny Bruce would be doing it, not that, but doing humor without language barriers. And they were doing it. All the major people were people you would never expect. So I always kind of believe that the roast shouldn't be televised, but they do succeed when Nikki's on. When certain people do them, they're very funny. Like the James Franco one was very good. When it's someone's friends, and mine was funny at the time to a lot of people because it was my friends. It was Norm Macdonald. Norm, I believe, had a joke about the E! Channel. He said, it's a network based on a font.
Oh, that's good. That I agree. And then they changed it to then they made this huge. They were like, we're changing the network, and it instead of an E with an exclamation point next to it, the E became the upper part of the exclamation point, and then instead of it being blue, they made it black, and they were like, it's a new network, and everyone looked around and went, and then they were like, we're gonna be high end, and then nothing. And then all the programs went right back to what we were doing before. I'm like, I'm just going to be telling fart jokes, and then we're like, coming up next, and Ice Loves Coco. So it was which I actually like very much. But
I like Ice.
Oh yeah, he's no joke. But I know what I'm saying. Going back to, I didn't realize that thing about how the roasts were a certain way. Did they mellow out with?
They were filthy, and then they cleaned them up to be able to do the Dean Martin roast, which were how we all look at. We think
that's right. That's how I didn't even know about the old ones. That shows you. Thank you for the education there. I would love to see them.
There's millions of them, and I was able to do a couple in New York. Where I hosted, and it was 2,000 people at the Hilton, which was their big ballroom. And the last one I did was Jack Black, and it was a long time ago, like a decade ago. It was so much fun, and it was filthy. I mean, it was just filthy, and it was fun, you know. And I think I didn't push the limits as a host as much as they do on Comedy Central. Remember when Al Roker, who's a sweetheart, had that incontinence thing and then talked about it?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I did a joke. He was right there, and I feel bad about it to this day, but I'll repeat it because it was so bad. And I said, if anyone has to use the restroom, please use Al Roker's pants. That was the joke.
That's it. And how did Al take it?
He came over and looked at me and he went, "Bob," and I hugged him. I said, "I'm so sorry." And as I hugged him, I said, "I'm not pushing any out, am I?" And he went, "Bob." But I love the man. And
so he wasn't. So was he offended?
You go there expecting to get the shit beat out of you.
Yeah.
And literally, that was the topic.
I mean, I remember when he told that story, and then he was at the White House.
Yeah, that's what it was. He was at the White House.
I don't even know what to say right now. So yeah.
Well, there are people that suffer from it. So he was actually trying to provide a service, but for comedians, I mean, come on.
Yeah, for a comedian, it was, can't. That's
beautiful.
And he's sitting right there. Al's going to watch this, and then he's going to say, no, he is the nicest man that's ever. I'm not saying that to be like, oh, we just made fun of him. Now let's say how great he is. But he really, I swear, like when I first started or first got on television, he was one of those people that was nice. And I always made sure I remembered the nice people, like Bob Saget and
like Joel McHale.
There's because you start here, because you run into crazy people, and then you have to play defense. But then when you come across the nice people, then that's because when friends are like, yeah, but Hollywood is just real cutthroat, right? And I was like, what are you talking about?
Right.
I was like, I feel like it's like most businesses and churches where there's a bunch of really good people and then a bunch of assholes, and that's pretty much life. So
yeah,
thank you.
Well, also, if you look at Al Roker's feed on Instagram, he's always giving me ideas for what to eat and how he's lost weight and how he stayed healthy because he wasn't well. And he's a great family man, and I've known him forever because since I started being on the TV, which is
1934. This didn't Full House start out as a radio play?
It did, and it was a flip book originally.
It's amazing.
I have false teeth in my ass now.
Why?
Because I have to chew my poo because my toilet's very sensitive.
Oh, I was like, you have solid poo? Good for you.
What's that like?
Please describe because mine is just, all right, this has gotten.
Picture or it didn't happen. I don't want those pictures. Why do people take those pictures? Why did they show us? Why do people think that's funny to show me poo?
I know. I only want to see the videos.
I like when you run them backwards.
I mean, ratemypoo.com was pretty ahead of its time.
I'm sorry, but it must exist, and you must have. Are they a sponsor of yours?
Oh, yeah. Not related to anything I'm doing. But I wear the shirts. It's on my car. My car is wrapped, as they say. How many sponsors do you have for your podcast?
I don't know, but, plenty.
The sponsors must be thrilled to hear that.
Well, no, there's a bunch, and some of them are really great. If you're talking about mental health and stuff, I like that. I like stuff that really helps people. And then other stuff is stuff that, one of the ones that always comes out is the manscaping one,
I feel like, God bless whatever marketing executive came up with the word manscape.
Right.
which is just, trimming. And they're like, we're going to make an entire blade electric thing just for dudes. It's exactly the same.
I don't know why they don't. Yeah, it should be for both. So I don't understand. It should be for all human beings if they want to do that. Clean it up for Lent.
Lent?
Yeah, give you time to think about your pubes and what they've done.
Cleaning it up for Mardi Gras, so it was presentable.
Or the Day of the Dead.
Oh, any of them. And I loved Coco. I cried in that movie. It was great.
Oh, I thought you were going back to Ice.
Oh, she's great too.
I did an episode of Law and Order SVU as a murderer. Oh, spoiler alert. And I was in his dressing room. He was not there that week. And they said, use his dressing room. And I'm in Ice's dressing room. And
they let you just use his dressing room?
And he said, fine, I like Bob. I'm in his dressing room. And all it is, everywhere is pictures of Coco. Everywhere. Photos, pictures, paintings. And I didn't touch anything. I used a coaster. I wouldn't eat in there. I didn't want to do anything.
Were some of them explicit?
They were very suggestive because she's a voluptuous wife.
I did. Okay. Well, this is now I feel bad because I don't have a room like that. And now I feel like a bad husband. So great.
Yeah, you don't have pictures of your wife in beautiful outfits and very slenderizing, revealing.
No. Do you?
No. I have a picture. I'll show you. This is a picture on my desk. This is when Kelly and I first started dating. This is what she did to me.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, that's just her giving me the finger. Meaning,
that's a really, that you chose wisely.
You chose well.
You picked, or she picked, you picked each other. But that's perfect, right?
Well, yeah. And you also have an amazing wife.
I do. She has tolerated me for almost 27 years.
That's unusual. 27.
25 this July. So.
And you're 34. So that's so weird.
It was arranged by our parents. It's cool. And, we learn to love as very young people. Could you imagine if we lived at a time where arranged marriages were like normal?
It does exist for some people, and I think some people want to go back to that.
Yeah, it seems, boy, can you imagine? Like when you're, I'll stop. Because in some cultures, they're very young when they get arranged, right?
Which is incredibly upsetting because people don't know who they are yet.
No. I'll stop. I don't know why we're even. It's fine.
No, I know. The whole point was to hang out, not talk about any of this stuff that upsets us during the day, and just play. I was saying before in the intro, that's like two friends that are 9, and you get to have playtime when you talk.
No, but then don't you think as friends things always drag back to subjects that are like, oh, okay, well, let's talk about popcorn now. Now, like kettle corn is like the greatest thing that's ever happened.
I hate it. I hate it. And Kelly gets all this stuff because she has sponsors like you do. She's always sponsoring something online, and that's what she does. She has a production company, and she's an influencer, and I do whatever she says, so that works. But I don't like all those flavored popcorns. That's not me.
You don't like the traditional kettle corn with sugar and salt?
No.
Why?
How can you even eat that? You're so slender. Do you just burn off sugar? Your body is so trained, it just says no, and sugar runs away scared, crying?
Well, as I said, I haven't had a solid stool in about 12 years, so that's
what are you sitting on?
Well, most of when I go, it just comes out refined sugar. It is dry, refined sugar. Which I have bagged and tried to sell, and it has not gone very good.
Did you ever say to someone, do you want to buy some good shit? Good night again. This is the second time a dad joke.
That's not as bad as pinafina or whatever you said.
Quadropenia.
Oh, God. What am I saying?
Refined sugar poo.
I don't eat that much sugar, but when I do, I go crazy.
Well, booze turns to sugar, correct?
It is sugar. Yes. So technically, yeah, I get a lot of sugar that way. But now I'm tooting my own horn. I'm hosting a show for Fox, and by horn, I mean, no.
And what is the name of it?
Crime Scene Kitchen. Thank you.
That's what you were doing last night, I believe.
I was doing, right. We
you were
just
in
shot
baking hell or something.
Well, people go into a kitchen and try to figure out what was cooked there, and then they go try to duplicate that thing that was baked. It's only desserts, but what I'm saying is that I was eating 9 to 15 desserts a day for 3.5 weeks, because you have to try everybody's dessert, and you can't just go, oh, I had one bite and that's that. You have to get all the flavors of the elaborate thing that they made.
Oh my God.
And believe me, when someone said, we're going to pay you to do that, I'm like, absolutely. I'm very excited. This is the green light I've always wanted. But I definitely gained weight, and me being as, narcissistic as I am about my appearance, I decided that I would run until my feet bled.
Did you? Are you a runner?
No, my right knee is a little, it's not busted, but it's a little sore from overrunning.
Yeah, that's what I got my meniscus torn by running stupidly on the bike path from in Santa Monica, 4 miles to the pier from the Palisades, and bam, it just tweaked, and now it's bone on bone, which some people like the sound of that, but
they do. But no, I know. I mean, knowing you, when you hear the word bone, that's a trigger.
It's a verb or a noun.
Yeah, it definitely. There's all those words that comedians, when they hear them, even when they hear like zip, like you're like, oh, is this an opportunity?
Yeah.
So, no, is it really? You snapped it, and did you know the moment you snapped it?
Yeah, I could not walk. And and then it filled up with fluid right away, because the body's pretty amazing, as you would know. It is a miracle, and we don't realize it or understand it enough that it's actual. It's your body. There is science involved if you care to learn about the body, and it fills with fluid, which is...
that was a really long and appreciative explanation of what happens to the human body. You really paid tribute to its incredible the way it reacts.
The making of a human being. When you pop a zit and then it dries out, that's different.
I do belong to like 2 or 3 Instagram accounts where it's just popping zits.
Yeah, my wife shows me those. My daughters want to show them to me. I don't want to look at the zit popper account.
Your worst nightmare is watching zits pop and eating kettle corn.
Yeah, or the zit pops on the kettle corn, which is...
Yeah, I've had a couple of those. I've had a couple, even when I was a teenager, zits that had like a hard white something inside of them, like that movie, what was it with Martin Sheen, True Believer or The Believers?
I thought you were going to go The Fly with Jeff Goldblum, where everything just goes to pus hell.
No, this is the woman had a sore in her cheek, and it was getting bigger and bigger. When she finally opened it, it was just bugs that crawled out onto her. And I was like, oh my gosh, my bachelor party. So
I like it because for kids, it's a life lesson. Don't pick your zits because bugs will come out.
I think I've told you that. Did I say that? This shows you my memory. We watched your crack in my butt routine. This, guys, if you get a chance, I don't know if it exists.
It doesn't. Where it is. I had it removed, but you did mention it the first time and only other time you were on my podcast.
Right, and I say it again because once I got the context, I did watch it on my bachelor party. No joke.
No way.
Yeah, because I talked to my friend Ethan Sandler, and he was like, yeah, because we kept going back to it as a reference point in like that became part of our language.
I'm so honored. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Where was your bachelor party? Was there any? It was a clean cut one because you are kind of guy. It was not debauchery.
No, I had no desire for that. It was a gathering of friends at my friend's Ethan's house.
Mm-hmm.
And we sat around and we got a keg, and then we just sat around drinking beer and eating and watching stuff. And that was, yeah. When I hear about people, like I've gone to Vegas with accompanying friends, and I was like, so it's how fun. This is borderline criminal activities you get to enjoy.
I left a suite once. I could not look at it.
Yeah, I never got the, like, you gotta go bananas before. I just never, for whatever reason in my brain, that didn't ever register as a thing. We just hung out. I didn't do. Did you have a crazy bachelor party?
I had a bachelor party that could have been crazy, and people got messed up. They had this is when I was 26 years old. So I'm 65. So do the
Cuban
math.
Missile Crisis was happening.
Exactly. In my underwear.
Pants.
Yeah. I don't know what to say.
No, you heard the word missile.
I mean,
and that is,
again, a trigger. Party.
It's a trigger for any comedian. And,
actually, bachelor party's a trigger for me because I auditioned 5 times to be in it with Tom Hanks, and Adrian Zmed got the part because he had your body.
Well, he was wonderful.
He was breathtaking. I think he had.
But Adrian Zmed, then he got T.J. Hooker. He didn't have two. He didn't have 2 shows on the air. So,
but T.J. Hooker was a good show, but they wouldn't name it that today. I don't think.
Maybe
the guy's name's Hooker. I don't know. I mean, I had a rough enough time with my last name just in life.
Yeah, that William Shatner, for whatever reason, he does not like me, or didn't like me.
Why do you think that? Because he is an unusual person.
He would tweet at Norm Macdonald and I and say stuff like, "It's not funny. You should stop doing it."
Really?
Yeah, like together in the same tweet that he'd be like, "Joel," no. And so I'm so excited because Captain Kirk is tweeting at me.
Right.
And then I'm like, and I'm somehow in the company of Norm Macdonald in his brain. So I'm like, keep him coming. This is going great. He's one of those guys, when I met him, I've only met him once. It was backstage at Betty White's 90th birthday broadcast, where I was like, "Great to meet you." And he did not say a word.
Oh, my.
He was just like,
I think you cut out the time. This is my experience. It ends up the same way, but it didn't start that way. I had a show on A&E called Strange Days. So I did stand up at one of their upfronts for A&E. And this was when they were going to try to do, we were trying to do comedy documentaries. I called it a cockumentary. And we did 6 of them. And the first one they couldn't run. We went to Odessa in the Ukraine and went to this place where they get mail order brides for guys. And it was fascinating. And it wasn't done in a misogynistic way. It was lonely guys that couldn't find women and wanted to get citizenship for someone that, yes, looks were involved, but a sweet person that wanted to be rescued, basically, from that Ukraine lifestyle. So it had a sadness to it, and they just didn't want to run it. And they ran all of our episodes off and then ended up putting on Duck Dynasty and Storage Wars. So that's what the Arts and Entertainment Network changed, like you were saying about E, how it, we're going to be distinguished. And then they... Yeah,
but Duck Dynasty and Storage Wars were huge hits.
Gigantor. And we were not. We did not open. We opened well.
Well, I'm saying that E wasn't, after that whole run of Kardashians and Seacrest and Joan and Chelsea and the Soup, then it just slowly went away after that. And
it's still relevant, but when you were there, it was literally amazing. I mean, you were.
It was hopping, and I remember going like, "This is what it's like to be on TV. You get a show, it works, and then there's a bunch of other shows that are working." And then I quickly learned, or after that I was like, "Oh, it's like walking a tightrope all the time, because at any moment it's over." And it's so rare when you get the tightrope that goes on for 15 miles and you can run and jump on it. And that's Duck Dynasty.
But it's so, yes. And then it also showed what America is to many people, and people liked that.
Yeah.
Because they didn't get to see it.
I like how the History Channel, they were like, enough of this history. Now we're going to do, were aliens around during history?
Conspiracy.
Here's Roman empires, but were there aliens?
Speaking of aliens, I'll finish my William Shatner experience because I am that. Yes. No, this is just me pretending I'm hosting something. He came up to me at this A&E thing. You know, it takes me like 7 minutes to set something up. I should be held up on charges
That's
of broadcast.
That's because I've interrupted you. I interrupt you at every turn.
No, it's not your fault. Your guilt is my nourishment.
Look, just because you have tiny Dodger players behind you with enormous heads, I'm fascinated.
That's their actual size. They don't get to play. They're gnomes.
I get that. You kind of have to be a full-size adult to play Major League Baseball.
Yep.
But see, what I did there was, again, distract you from trying to tell.
No, I like this. This is why I wanted to talk to you. You're like, my brain's like yours. We go down labyrinths, and people either follow it or go, why aren't they staying on topic? But who cares?
No, that's what Conan said. Conan was like, dude, you cannot steer me down this cul-de-sac that leads to nowhere.
When he said cul-de-sac, but you guys were... And Conan's of the same mind. I adore him. He's so brilliant and
so good. He's so fast it scares me.
Yeah, and he's got one of the greatest minds ever in comedy ever. So that's him. Yep. But that appearance, I missed you so bad while I was watching it because
I'm so glad they aired the whole thing.
They aired the whole thing because it was fantastic. You know, and you're in this different. I'll just finish a Shatner story real quick. So watch how short I'll tell the end. So he comes up to me at this A&E thing because I do a couple minutes. And when you do a couple minutes, people like you because you're on stage and you don't do bad. You never do bad. If you do bad, then those 40 years were a waste or whatever it took you to.
If you do bad, then you still have a television show.
Well, I didn't. They canceled it. But Shatner grabs me by the face and goes, I love you. Call me. Let's get together. I want to see you. And I had a friend, a good friend, Ben Folds, who did an album with Shatner when Shatner was doing the poetry, kind of taken from that Rocket Man video he did years ago. And so I called Shatner, and he gave me his number. I called him, and he goes, yeah, what do you want? And then I saw him one more time at the Emmys, backstage at the Emmys, because Fuller House was presenting. I don't remember the context. Oh, we were nominated.
This was relatively recent.
Oh, we won an Emmy. Yeah, we won an Emmy.
You did win an Emmy.
No, Fuller House did. I didn't. It won for something for kids.
You're on Fuller House.
Well, a few episodes a season, but whatever. I don't like people that say, I don't, when the show wins an Emmy, and then an actor in the show goes, I won an Emmy. You didn't win an Emmy. The producers.
That's true. You say we won an Emmy for this.
I say the show that I was on.
Yeah. Okay. I get
so at that thing, I saw William Shatner, and he was like, how are you? He says, I'm okay. I'm just trying to eat this cupcake or whatever. And that was it. So it dwindled down to just a bit more than you got out of him.
At least you got the I adore you, call me. And then it sounds like Don Rickles treating Sinatra going like, we're eating. I look, it's a badge of honor that he trolled me alongside of Norm Macdonald.
Yeah, he's fascinated by you. And he knows your comedy.
I must have said something on the soup that pissed him off about something. We never attacked anything he was. It racked my brain. I was like, did we say something about him? I'm like,
did you do an impression of him?
No, because I'm terrible at impressions.
Yeah, me too.
I've been doing a Christopher Walken for the last 15 minutes and you haven't noticed it. And that's not even a good one because everyone does that one.
Well, I have Kevin Pollak right here.
Hey, buddy, he's much shorter.
Here he is.
Oh.
He's so little.
Now, why do you have that thing?
My daughter gave it to me. My youngest daughter gave it to me. That's nice. Make fun of something that my beautiful daughter gave me.
See, now I'm trying to figure out how to back up and go, that's so great. And then I said, did she make it? And then I'm assuming you're going to go, no, what is that? Why does it need to be that? Oh,
let me make you feel better. I lied. I made it in prison.
Oh. How long have you been out?
A couple months. You know, it was off a couple things that I posted.
I agreed with the conviction. It
Now,
was.
have you ever been arrested?
Nope. You?
No, I didn't do anything.
I've never. I'm trying to think of. No, I'm not even really close. I would like to say that, like, oh, for protesting something, but that didn't happen either. I don't know. I have a lot of friends who've been. So have you. You're a comedian.
I have a ton of friends that have. Here's a question. It goes back to that bachelor party thing. Like, people do this stuff and you go like, whoa, I don't want to be here. I'm not in the adult film business. I'm out. So I went down to the coffee shop with my friend that didn't want to see it either. And people think because my comedy goes through phases, right now I'm loving stand-up more than ever. I got to start again, and I'm going to do a lot of dates as the year progresses, providing I'm not shooting something, but I'm really happy about it, and I loved it, and it's all different. I'm a different human from doing it. I'm going to go, Dave Chappelle invited me to go back to Yellow Springs and be part of that, and I love it. And you're such a good stand-up, Joel.
Don't try to transition it this way.
I won't let you. You are, and we work in a similar way, and it's not because you've been. I guess I want to say who are your influences, but I feel like you're just you.
Oh, I'm stealing from everybody all the time. I've stolen a lot of your jokes, and I want to thank you because the crack in my butt works great.
I'm still honored. That was on an HBO special called In the Dream State that you cannot find anywhere because I asked my manager who produced it, Brad Gray, to please have it removed from HBO, so you can't find it. I don't think you can find it.
Serious power.
Well, it wasn't. I begged because it didn't work. The only thing that worked was 10 minutes of that crack in the butt.
I feel like sometimes we do soup episodes where I'm like, well, I know there was one joke that was funny, so I can take that away from it. But no, you're right. I mean, if you didn't want it to be out there, you did the right thing, right?
Maybe I'll find it and find the crack in my butt. But I had a padded jacket with like the Arsenio jacket where it was a sleeve, and I wore them on the video show, but this was a more extreme version, more vanilla ice, because that was the time. So I wanted to be more forward. And that also, my shoulders are dated.
So, wait, you might be the first comic to remove a special because of the wardrobe. You're like, I can't. I would like to see a photo. And, at the time when it comes out, you think, well, he better be wearing a padded jacket because that's the look.
Right.
And Arsenio, he created that look, and even his logo was that thing. So I feel like however you wanted it. I think the coat worked. And at the time I thought it was beautiful. And you don't even have slump shoulders as it is. You didn't even need to make up for it, but you did. I commend it.
I had implants in my shoulders. You talked about this, I believe, with implants? Conan. With Conan, you talked about having muscle on your muscles.
He talked about it, but as I told him, you're right. And I kept thanking him for bringing it up. But I do 45 minutes to an hour a day. That's what I do. And I don't take any supplements except for, again, this thing that was created in Lithuania, and it glows, and it makes me stop breathing for like a minute. And if I get through that, I hit it. But I would just consistency and not being a maniac in eating. You'll make your entire high school class jealous.
I think I have, because some of them are dead.
From what?
They just had heart attacks and stuff. Life is hard for people, and
we went to my wife's 30th high school at 2 years ago, and you're like, here's the pictures of people that have moved on, and you're like, oh, this is what's happening.
I'm about to be 65, and somebody said, hey, well, I'm retiring, and I went to college with him, and I did comedy with him, and I'm like, retire?
Yeah.
And then I was told by my doctor, even though I'm in every union, so I have medical insurance, I'm lucky, But he said, you should fill out for Medicare because you're 65. I went, what? So I fill out the form. I literally wrote this because I had my name there, even though it's Robert. And they said, when are you retiring? And I wrote, when I die. So maybe I'll get a laugh, or maybe just an eyebrow, or they'll just shred it.
Mean, yeah, but your friend who retired was a comedian?
He was a comedian in a comedy group and also a dentist.
So he's retiring from being a dentist.
Yeah, and I think he might go do comedy as something he loves, and he's very funny. It's really interesting. Do you have friends that made that detour and were very, very funny? Like at your bachelor party, were there people from your younger years that could have been in show business but didn't do it?
Oh, I'm trying to think of people that were like, oh, that person is just so funny, and they chose to. I have more friends. Oh, cool. That chose to like, no. I'm gonna go into boat building. Like there's a couple, but then mostly it's friends who did give it a try. Who I was like, this person is so talented. They're going to be a star, and then they usually stopped trying.
It's the perseverance that gets you there, and
yeah,
that's it. You just don't stop.
And what Harrison Ford said it when he won the big honorary Golden Globe. He said something like, and it's Harrison Ford, so obviously he's extremely talented, but he was like, I was the only one left. He was like, everyone else just left. I was the one here. Yeah. And I was like, there is a truth to that, because I feel like I remember someone said, oh yeah, don't worry, everyone gets a shot here. And I remember going like, oh, it's not the way you think about it. You're like scraping. He's like, eventually it'll come around. And but yeah, it really is like an ultra marathon. And I think people think that you're just going to get that break and then you're off. It's like nothing. Nope.
No, they don't know how much work there is. And I know somebody who's a fairly big movie actor and big series star. And years ago, he did a movie, and I did a reading at the movie with the director and most of the cast that was in the movie. And I wasn't in it because I wasn't right. He shows a very large man with no hair. So I didn't feel bad. And
you're large.
But not large that way.
Oh, I see.
Horizontally.
Yes, I see.
And also a better actor. But the thing is, the star of the movie said to me, it's really hard being a star and carrying a movie and being a movie star, being able to be one. He didn't say, I don't think he said movie star because he's a smart person. It's really hard. It's really hard to keep it up there. But I was going to.
I'll say it. I know. I won't say the name, but this person who is they're famous, a famous person, but they're like, oh, I love it when I see my name is not number one. They're
right.
like all the pressure is off. And I was like, oh, what an interesting way to approach. Like, oh yeah, I guess like when you spend, because there, as you know, like just to get a movie made is near impossible.
Right.
Then for it to be good, also pretty hard. Then if you're the star of it, you got to do all that other stuff. And then you have to promote. Yeah, you promote it endlessly. And
recently you have your brand new movie that you did not want to talk about on Conan's show because you are an anti-promoter for someone who does love promoting. But
well, how do you think it's the best way? I tried to set up the clip, which I had no idea what it was. Of course, I thought I knew what it was, but like every a-hole that goes on a talk show, they're like, I don't know what they sent, and they're like, these jerks.
That's when I actually do my producer head kicks in, and I talk to my publicist or the show publicist, and I go, what clip are you running? Can I see it? And then I even try to change the clip sometimes.
I've done that. Yeah, I've done that. I don't know why I did not know. I literally thought I knew what the clip was. I feel like somebody told me, and then I was like, great. But then they had selected a different clip.
It looks really interesting, and she looks really good. What's the name of the movie, and who is that actress you're with?
The name of the movie is Happily, and that actor is Carrie Bechet, and she's one of those people. She's worked for many years, and I don't know why she is not a gigantic star, because she looks that way, and she's a tremendous actor. I mean, really good fucking A.
Joel, where is this movie seeable? Are we lucky enough to get it in some theaters right now?
It's behind you right now. It was, yeah. It's in that photograph with you and Rodney Dangerfield. It's right there.
Okay,
no.
God, it's good.
Thank you. It's very Rodney heavy, but it is in. I think was in theater. It was a tiny little movie made for less than $1 million, and it was supposed to be the Tribeca Film Festival, but then because of COVID, that obviously was canceled. And it just came out. And in the weird way, because so many few movies have come out, or they all kind of had this level playing field, because as far as like big movies, everyone could promote things on Zoom and on shows. So it actually had a really pretty good day at the box office. And yeah, I think you can get a video on demand. It's one of those things, I mean, where people that work and you see, I was like, just type the name of the movie in and there'll be 12 ways to see it. But Ben David Grabinski wrote and directed, and he's one of those. It's his first one, and he's great. And I mean, he's directed other television stuff and smaller things, but he's on his way. He's great, and the cast was bananas. So good and funny.
Oh, it was just so you and her were the only humans in it. The rest were bananas.
Yeah,
they were just cut to a banana. Did they animate the mouth?
They are from another planet, and they look like bananas, but they're fully sentient. How dare you? Really good banana play. I'm sorry, I'm a jerk. No.
Did you slip on any of them and get a laugh?
Oh, jeez.
We'll take a break. One more break. Just last break. I
just had one of those. When your doctor goes, "Hey, you've had like 4 heart attacks," and I'm like, "Oh, I don't even know. I just had one."
Okay, if there's one thing I know about, it's meat. Well, let me get more specific. My dad was a meathead. He was a head of meat for a supermarket chain. I worked in the supermarket. Nepotism, it's how I got the job, but I worked hard. And I worked in the meat department. I worked in the seafood department. I worked in the deli. And my dad loved meat. What can I tell you? He loved steaks. We all ate chicken all the time. We didn't get pork chops a lot, which is why Omaha Steaks is a place where you can get all of those things. Let me explain. Summer's almost here, right? And that means backyard grill outs. And I just did it. You take it out of the freezer, it comes frozen, put it in your freezer, take it out, thaw it out, not for too long, put it in the fridge afterward. And that night, for dinner, you just put it on the grill or cook it in a pan. I did that with teriyaki sauce. I kind of boiled it, but it was still amazing. Visit omahasteaks.com if you like meat and things like it, and enter keyword Saget in the search bar to order the mouth-watering Let's Go Grill package today. Not only are you going to get great savings, you're going to get the tasty bonus of 12 ultra-juicy Omaha steak burgers free. That's almost 4 pounds of free burgers, 4 pounds of meat, people. To top it off, you also get $20 off on your first order. What's in the Let's Go Grill package? I will tell you. It's 4 5-ounce butcher-cut filet mignons. I had them on the grill the other night. They were great. 4 6-ounce boneless pork chops. I don't eat pork chops a lot. They were fantastic. 4 boneless chicken breasts, 1-pound package. I look forward to having those. And 4 3-ounce kielbasa sausages. I'm waiting for my wife to get home, and I'm going to give her some sausage. And then 4 3.81-ounce individual scallop potatoes, and 4 4-ounce caramel apple tartlets. People like them, and they're tartlets. I never heard them called that. And 1-ounce jar of signature seasoning. I can't recommend this stuff enough. I'm addicted to it. I just eat it right out of the little container. And free. It's free. You get 12 5-ounce Omaha steak burgers. That's a $43.99 value. So it's a pretty great thing to get the Let's Go Grill package. Anyway, here's to warmer days filled with fun family memories and epic backyard grill outs featuring the best steak of your life. And it's guaranteed. So go to omahasteaks.com and use the code SAGET, S-A-G-E-T, in the search bar. And for a limited time, you get 12 free Omaha steak burgers and $20 off at checkout on your first order. That's omahasteaks.com, keyword Saget. We're back. And Joel's heart is, you have the heart of a horse.
Yes, I do.
You keep it in your bed
It's enlarged. Yeah, it loves oats. It gets very nervous around mice, things like that.
How is your physical? Have you had your heart checked? Because you are such an amazing human specimen.
Thank you, Bob. I have not, but I have an iWatch that I go like, yep, it's doing well. I did have, this is going to end up being a compliment to myself. Shocker. Years ago. So this is going to be a long ass story. So my oldest son had open heart surgery when he was 2 months old.
Oh my God.
Yes. Terrific, crazy, but it all worked out great. It was one surgery, and he's 16 and he's going to be taller than me. If you needed to have heart surgery, this is the one you wanted to have. And people literally on the recovery floor were like, "Oh, we were hoping for this one," and you forget. You're like, "Oh, right." You feel bad for yourself, and you're like, "Oh, there are people that have it 100 times worse." And so. But what went along with that is that we had to keep him fed, and he was a little bit because he was weak because his heart wasn't working great. You had to keep him feeding. So feedings would take 2 hours, and he needed to be fed every 4 hours. So it was actually the feeding ended, and then you would be feeding him again 2 hours later, and this was around the clock. Also, while I was doing the soup, so my wife and I were doing this. We were tag teaming the feedings, and I would do the night shift. So I'd feed him I would feed him at 11, feed him at 1, feed him at 3. So my wife could get some sort of sleep, because then I'd go off and, tell fart jokes on basic cable. But after weeks of this, I was like, oh, this is what sleep torture. This is what they do to torture people. They don't let them sleep. And then you live in this twilight world. So what was happening was I felt like I was going to have a heart attack. I was having this heart palpitations, and I was like, something's wrong with me. And I went to this heart doctor, and they're like, we're going to hook you up to this monitor and monitor your heart for 24 hours. I'm like, great. So I did this soup wearing this contraption. And I remember Jose Camila, the greatest wardrobe guy you've ever met. I took it off, and he was like, well, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, I don't know. Maybe and so everything turned out fine. And they were like, you're not. They're like, you need to just get some sleep, because I was hallucinating. But they did all these tests of my heart. And the first test, they were like, you have an enlarged heart. And I'm like, oh, I have a problem. And then they examined it, and they went, oh, but none of it's heart. They're like, do you run a lot? And I was used to run marathons. They were like, oh, you have a runner's heart. And I was like, is that bad? And they're like, no, it's really good, because you've expanded the size of your heart because you've run so much. And I was like, so the heart attack will be spectacular when I'm 70. And they're like, maybe, funny joke, mister, right here in the heart. So in conclusion, famous last words, as I say this on a podcast, and I was like, so they were like, oh, your heart looks great. It's larger than most because you did so much freaking cardio. I used to do 30-mile runs. And so those days are over. But because of, these knees, but so that is a very long way of saying, that, I don't have a doctor. See what I did?
And there's no donor for you except an elephant.
Yeah. No, maybe like a moose.
Moose would be good.
Yeah. They got all the same valves, right? How's your heart? Are you in good health?
I think I am. I go to a heart. My GP is a heart doctor. That's what he does. He does surgery. So I go to him and always get the full-on checkup, because I have a lot of heart attacks in my family. My dad had 2. All of his brothers had heart attacks. 3 of them passed away between 38 and 42. So I always get my heart checked. Holy
crap.
Yep. I have to live for a long time. I got a wife and 3 daughters, and an ex-wife, and a lot of plants.
So you got some bills.
Well, that's not why. Well, I guess I got to take care of it. I have to take care of everybody.
What are you paying for colleges and stuff, right?
Yeah, I did all that.
Oh, you did? All right.
Yeah.
Well, then there you go.
they're old. They're older. They're all graduated and all that. So I wanted to go back to a couple things. One thing is I was telling you what a great stand-up. First thing, you're in good health, so I don't have to worry about you, right?
I think so. I mean, I don't have a doctor. I need to get one.
You really don't have a doctor?
He passed away. No, I'm kidding.
You murdered him.
Heart attack. No. I got an ear, nose, throat guy. He's great. Dr.
Doesn't
Finneman.
he have a whole body? Is he like one of those little dolls?
This goes back to this banana joke and the quadropenia.
I only have two formats of humor.
I'm keeping track of these.
I have puns and
I need
then
a
literal
practitioner to get everything. At some point, I'm going to have to do that colonoscopy thing. And
come on over. Just wear a glove or not.
Have you done that?
Yeah, I like it. I get I get a couple a week.
You drink that stuff and you get knocked out?
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like drinking the gallon of stuff. Or they have it in smaller things now, but then you're up all night. You just run to the thing and you get the full-on clean out. You lose 5 pounds. And then the next day, they put a camera in there, but they give you propofol. And if you got to do a drug, it's unfortunately the drug Michael Jackson was on.
Yeah. So is it one of those things where you don't even realize that you're out?
You don't know it, and you're gone quick. I do jokes before I go out because I find it hilarious that they ask you to count. And I go, right. Do I have to count? Can I just start a joke? And I talked about it in a Playboy 20 Questions interview, and I talked about him as a butt doctor, and he got offended. And he's a great doctor, but he got offended being called a butt doctor. And I did it because my daughters were like, when I turned 50, they were like, Dad, you got to go to the butt doctor. And that's where it came from. It didn't come from making fun of him. And I felt bad about that.
I mean, really?
I did, yeah. I didn't want to offend a doctor that's going to stick a camera up my ass.
I guess, but I mean, it's like, psychiatrists are called shrinks. And I feel like, I don't know, they're like, it's more than that. Like they could be offended. I guess it's because it's the butt.
Have you had one?
I mean, not authorized. See what
That's yours. So your humor is funnier and just goes right to the point.
Yeah. Yours is, you had, I just want the Bob Saget 2 shows on television. No, that's not true. Yours is, my stand-up is like, I'm always like, I'm going to just, for the next hour, they're going to remember about 3 minutes of jokes. So I'm going to fucking nail them with that. That's my goal.
The rest is filler. The rest is your witty personality.
Panic.
You don't panic on stage. You like it.
No, those days, I don't even know when it happened, when you're like, oh, I think I can stand up here for 9 hours.
Yeah.
And it's going to be fine. I saw Chappelle do 6 hours one time, and I was like,
right.
Well, that guy, obviously it's Dave Chappelle. So, I mean, he is a mutant. He's the best comedian alive. Yeah. He doesn't make any sense on this planet. I was just like, he operates, it's like he just operates at that other level that doesn't exist. That where you go, he's like Michael Jordan in that you're like, the whole game is all different now because of this one person. And so that's definitely
he's influenced me a lot. He's changed a lot of how I approach things. I'm more responsible, I think, with what I say. And I'm also not as afraid to say what I believe, but I better be careful because I don't think as much. And I guess you kind of do that too because you free associate. And then you go, ooh, why did I say that? Do you find yourself doing that after a show somewhere? Like, oops, that could be taken out of context. Or do you just kind of go, hey, it was stand-up. It was a private moment, so it's okay.
Boy, that's a good question.
Well, we're out of time.
I do it, about every 3 minutes on stage. I'm like, ooh, I don't know, maybe. No.
Right.
I'm trying to think. Because if someone it usually happens when I'm interacting with the audience. If I say something,
right,
like I'm like, oh, that might be a problem. But usually the person if I'm, when you get super drunk people that are truly disruptive and are, like the show cannot continue with this person in the room.
No, they have to go.
That's when, and I don't do the thing, and I had in the past where I'm like, get the fuck, like that doesn't happen anymore. I usually go like, do you like this guy, everybody? And that's when people are like, we hate him too. Oh, get out of here. So that I've gotten over that.
Right.
I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of like, I'm in real trouble for what I haven't had one of those moments in a long time because I haven't been on stage very much. But
do you let me divert you into, are you missing stand-up at all? You're working on, you got 90 television shows going, you got 10 movies. I mean, for a guy that talks about being out of work, I mean,
it really is contradictory.
It's insane, Joel. I mean, it's insane. Your IMDb changes every half hour.
Thank you for saying that.
They're taking stuff off of it.
Oh no. Well, some of it, it is bad when people, like a guy the other day was like, hey, we did these. I shot these ads because, of course, I like shooting. I love shooting ads because they take one day and then they pay you. It's great. But he was like, hey man, we shot. He was like, we shot. I'm trying to think of a different. He's like, I'll say like we shot these Lysol ads, and I was like, I don't think so. And he was like, no, we did, like, they were bringing different people in. You were in like 4 of them, and I was like, am I a senior now? Have I become a full-on senior that I can't even remember days of work?
Right. They thought you were someone else.
Yeah, and I don't know what they're like. No, it was you. And I was like, oh, was it these ones? They're like, no. I was like, and my friends are worried about my head because I can't remember anything. And I think it's because I don't sleep enough and I work too much.
Right.
But then I was vindicated because my wife was like, you didn't shoot those ads. And what the hell's wrong with you? Of course you didn't. It was like, the guy was wrong. I was like, oh, I wish I could be as demonstrative as you are, hun. But I was, yeah. So I don't know why I steered the conversation away from what your question was. Do I miss stand-up? Yes. Though I get nervous, I don't get nervous, but stand-up to me is like a sport, and that you have to stay in shape.
Yeah.
Some people don't because they're just freaking skilled as hell. But I feel really good about stand-up when I've done it. Like if I do it like 5 nights in a row, then I'm like, I'm back. I worked out. I got it out. So just did
that and I loved it. I opened the Hard Rock Arena.
I saw your tweets. That looked really cool.
It was so much fun, and it took me about 5 minutes, and then I went, oh, this is what I do. And it was all this new stuff, and I was just talking, and then you got to throw in some jokes, like you're saying. Here's 3 minutes of jokes amongst that hour. But it was more than that. I just loved it. It's something that I loved it like I did in 1995 when I stopped doing Full House and I just had the video show, and I was trying to find my voice of what my stand-up was. And some people are not happy that I found it, but others are. And it's changing again. I mean, it's a really cool thing when you go back, and I know you will, because I just had Chelsea Handler on the podcast. She told me once she was not going to go back to stand-up years ago, and now she's back, and her her HBO Max special is really strong, really good.
Well, she's so talented, and she better go back.
But she wasn't going to. And there are people that say, I'm not going to do it anymore, or I'm not going to do a special anymore. I understand that mentality when you get so big that you don't need to do one. But
do you feel like, maybe saying I'm not going back and then falling in love with it again is a great way to go at it.
It's like getting divorced and saying I'm never going to get married again. It's kind of like that.
Yeah. Well, that's great. I can't wait to see that special because she's so
You'll
funny.
love it. It's really strong. And she also comes to terms with loving people that she's been lambasting. Is that what the word? That she's been attacking over these last 4 or 5 years in our world. And she's like trying to find, love and empathy. And of course, some people will be offended by that because I'll mention love in a tweet and I'll have like 100 people attack me.
Really?
You know? Yeah. Love, fuck you. I'm like, what? And then I'll end up taking it down. I'll either I'll block like
That's
one.
because when they say fuck you, they're like, fuck you. I love you too.
No, it's like evil. And then you go to their page, you look at what they are, and it's like Dark Lord of crap, you know.
Yeah, but the Dark Lord of crap loves crap. I mean, they're literally the Lord of
But I love you is not crap. Not if you mean it.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of yeah, because I feel like I've been so sarcastic. I have to tell people. I even on the last show, I'm like, on the cooking show, I'm like, I know I'm sarcastic all the time, and what I'm about to say is going to sound sarcastic, but it is not. I'm like, I really like this peach cobbler that you just served us.
Right.
So
that's how I'm approaching. That's how I approach stand-up when I went back. I have to tee it up to explain the context and then I have to apologize my way out of it because maybe it was something I wouldn't normally say in this day and age. So I've got to be extra sensitive. I mean, I want to be. I don't have to be. It's not. I'm doing it. Not like I'm doing it because I'm doing something I feel is wrong. I'm doing it because I'm going to be thoughtful because of how people are perceiving things now. And you're self-aware.
Yeah, but I don't think. Do you think you've ever been perceived as not thoughtful?
Yeah. The young kids, the 14-year-old TikTok kids, are the ones who they don't get. They think if they watch a roast that it's the news, or if someone on YouTube attacks someone, they decide they hate someone. That's the news, that's a fact. Some person, it's true. I heard it. How many times do you hear that? I hear it. I say it. I say, yeah. I heard that this, and then you find out, oh no, the statistics are actually 180 from what you think they are.
Right. I didn't even think about that. Man. Yeah.
I don't know.
I didn't think about that. Yeah. No, I feel, yeah. Yeah. I have to be careful. I have to be careful sometimes because I can be so sarcastic that people are like, I cannot get a read on you. And I'm like, sorry, I'm telling too many jokes and I need to, it looks like I am hiding from something.
Well, I have a shrink and he told me you don't have to always be funny. And that was the problem with my last special. But the thing is, that
would be a great title for a special. Like, you don't always have to be funny. That would be good.
But you're writing the critic's first line, though.
That's true.
And you're not. But you are so
you're like
likable.
That movie, like 10. Like you see a movie like 10 Things I Hate About You, and then that's one where I don't even like that movie was good, but you're like that's where critics would be like, here we go, and they can just
who's bold. When they made This Is the End, I can believe it's Seth Rogen.
Yeah.
And that's one of the best.
Such a good movie.
It's one of the best comedies ever made. And it's irreverent as it can be. And that title would have warranted criticism, but it's so fucking good. I mean, it's
so good. And that same year, Edgar Wright put out At World's End, which also was brilliant. And I just showed Shaun of the Dead to my 16-year-old. I don't know, my 13-year-old didn't watch it, but he was probably on his Oculus. But it was so great to watch my 16-year-old just laugh. And I was like, oh, good. So I was like, oh, it works so well. And I was like,
it's so relevant to right now too. All of those things we just talked about are because many people feel like it's the end of days, which it is not. I mean, we have a disease that we're fighting and we're resetting, and everything else has been a shit fest in the world and politics and what people's freedoms and yada, yada, yada. And the world's in pain, and we will get through this because we have to be positive.
Yeah, go get vaccinated out there. Who's ever listening. If you're not vaccinated, are you in the opportunity to? And you're not going to because you're like, that's where I go crazy.
Well, people don't believe in the science of it, and I hate getting heavy on it. I had Dr. LaPook, who's the chief CBS medical correspondent, on as a guest, and he's
look at you.
Well, he's Norman Lear's son-in-law, so I had a connection, and also he is brilliant because he's not like, you're not getting some left-wing thing that everybody's so fearful of, the deniers and the people that are scared of it. And just talked about, you don't understand, it's been 2 decades that this vaccine has been created. They added the component that contained, I said, what did they do? Just put bat in it? And then we cut that out of the podcast.
Wow.
Yeah, a little bat.
Will it be cut? Will it be cut out of this podcast?
Nope. Staying in this one.
Look at that.
The only thing that's coming out is I can't think of anything offhand. So here's my question. You love acting in movies. I know you do. And you're really good in them. You also love television. I just saw on Rolling Stone's list that I don't know, it's a number 40 in the 40s out of the 100 shows.
24, dude.
Sorry.
I've got it. I've got the poster of it blown up.
Community. I didn't know. I did not know that. But Community is number 24 because I did not know. Because I can't roll through it. There's too many ads when you look at it online. And I didn't have the actual...
Not on Netflix. Not on Netflix.
No, I'm talking about on the list of Rolling Stones.
Oh, right. Yeah. No, you're right.
Best half-hour comedy shows of all time.
If you had told my 20-year-old self that would be it, there's going to be a list where you get to say that you're on the show that was loved and still thought of, I'd be like,
and look at all the people that came out of it besides yourself. So many great people. Aubrey Plaza.
I don't remember. But
Couple of Bananas.
I don't remember anybody who came out of that show other than me. I feel like Donald Glover is going to finally have his day. It's going to finally start working for him.
But did you love it at the time? Did you love it while you were making the show? Because I knew you then.
I will say that when I read that script, the pilot script, it was one of the only ones where I went, this is one I'm going to fight for. Mm-hmm. This is one I'm going to do everything in my power to get. I killed 2 people, but they weren't liked, but
one of them was on the show.
Yeah, they're on this show, on this podcast.
On this podcast, you're going to kill me.
But no, I knew it was good. And I do know when I read a script, whether I'm like, I don't know, I'm just going to make it. But this one was like, oh, this one just it's all there. It lays out the sandbox that's why Dan Harmon is Dan Harmon, because he knows he can combine wonderful. He's so funny and absurd when he wants to be, but also makes all the characters real. I was just, I was so lucky to get on it, and people fought for, he wanted me on it. So I was like, God bless you. It was perfect because the soup was on and it was working. So the network was like, okay, but thank God, thank you, Ben Silverman. So anyway, that said, that was one I went after. And there's been a couple other times where I've gone after things because I'm like, this is going to be good, and didn't get it. And, it's one of those things where if I leave it all out there, and as far as like, okay, I did everything I could in the audition or in the read or whatever, and I was like, all right, it went to somebody, it's a better choice. Usually I'm not bitter about stuff like that, but
I've had that happen.
Yeah.
I've been told by, I was told by Scorsese to tell him from his casting person to hold these 2 months, don't do anything for a pilot. And I went, well, okay. And Ray Romano did the part, and it was in vinyl, and Ray was right. And if you're around long enough and you don't take it to heart, and then you watch it, you go, no, Ray was naked. Oh, this is really good. But Ray was the right choice. So I don't get, and then I wrote to Martin, and no, he wrote me a letter. He said, I just want you to know you were really great. Thank you for keeping the time open. And then I sent him my book, Dirty Daddy, and I signed it, if there's anything else you ever want to know about me, besides, our experience together, here's this book. And he wrote me a letter back to thank me for the book. I mean, it was very, he's one of the coolest directors of all time. So,
well, yeah, I mean,
am I going on a limb?
That he's one of the, well, Moon Doom, no. Yeah, he's one of the yeah, no, that's very cool. Yeah, and yeah, you know that.
So what's your dream? What's your dream thing? I mean, you know, everybody asks you that. What you want, what a lot of people want, and you deserve it. And you're obviously starting to look like you could be an Avenger the way you're working out and the way you're.
Well, yeah, they're looking for 50-year-old Avengers. That's
you
great.
don't look 50, and you have the spirit of a 6-year-old little girl. But
oh, okay.
What? No,
that's great. No, that'll play well. Thank you. I feel like I'm two little girls, and so
right. There's a lot of power there, especially
combined.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
I mean, you love movies. The more you do, the better you get.
I love movies and TV. I mean, the reason why I was going to move to New York or here in 2000 after I got out of graduate school, and I was like, which one? And I had no offers here from agents and a lot in New York. And I chose here because I'm like, I love television and movies, and that's why I'm
television movies specifically.
Yeah,
that was a run-on sentence, but you love television movies, you're saying.
I love television movies. I like it when they take a television show and turn it into a movie. So
can there be a community movie? I think there could be, by the way.
I think there could be.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't think there was. And then we did a table read a year ago for COVID relief. And that actually sparked a lot of interest, and also obviously the success of the show on the streamers. But
how many years did it run?
It was canceled after 4. And
Why?
There was perhaps somebody in a position of power that didn't like the show.
And then where did it get picked up?
It got picked up by, it was owned by Sony, so they could, someone else get picked up by Yahoo, which was a 2-year-long boondoggle of them trying to start their own streaming service, and which they did and put a ton of money into it, and that was great. And they took care of us. It was wonderful. And then the whole streamer shut down.
Right.
And then Yahoo was sold. So they literally said in this article, which were not the people that started the streaming service, that one of the executives who I never met basically blamed us and Paul Feig's show for bringing the streamer down, to which I was like, look what I did. Not a lot of people can say that.
You're a powerful man. You brought down the Yahoos.
Yeah, but when you look at Hulu and Netflix and all the big, and Amazon, it's a long game. Just like you're going to lose a ton of money before you start finding hits. And I mean, and you lose. Yeah. But anyway, so it was on for 6 years total. But every year our budgets shrunk, and we were told multiple times on our last episode, can this be the season and series finale? Which is a wonderful way, and definitely a confidence builder when you're on a show. So it took on, that's when it started getting the kind of cult following, when it was always like, is it going to be canceled or not? People fought for it, which really helped. Ironically, I mean, the ratings actually were pretty good. We were up against The Big Bang Theory, which made no sense scheduling wise. Why would you ever put a comedy up against another comedy? I even had a network president, not related to the one that was employing me, but they were like, why would they do that? Doesn't make any sense. Why would they do that? And so of all people, I mean, Les Moonves is the person that said, why would they ever put a comedy up against Big Bang? It is such a behemoth. And I was like, I agree. But those were the days. I don't think anybody is still employed over there in those same positions.
You are now doing Card Sharks.
Card Sharks is coming back this summer.
I misunderstood it. I thought it was Card Sharts, and I thought that was about a person with a full house who has a hit or miss in their underpants. So that's what I thought it was, Card Sharts. But you're doing Card. Let me spell it out.
I'm hyperventilated. I can't see anything. I don't know what happened.
I'm sorry. Do you have pink eye from that joke? Tell me the premise of Card Sharks, because it's an old show that used to be on. Yeah,
it's a high-low. I mean, I say just up, but no, it's very dressed up, but it's a high-low game where if It's just like 9 cards. It's like if a 2 comes up, I'm like, do you think the next card's going to be higher or lower? And you're like, it's going to be higher. And then the next card's a 10. And then they're like, well, you've already won this much money to the point. So it seems so simple, but you can win like $700,000. So the money's no joke. And so a turn of a card, yes, it can be like in Vegas where you're like, it's just a piece of paper and we're all just here on this table, but it's a fortune. And
the studio is gigantic. They've done quite a thing. They're
writing some crazy checks, and thank you, ABC. Yeah. And then like on the baking show, they have to actually, bake stuff, and then they can win a crap ton of money. So
are you kind of like, is it kind of a baking show? Is it kind of a beat Bobby Flay kind of thing where they're competing to get this stuff done? Or is it just you're trying to do their recipe?
No, there is a time limit. No, but they have to go into this kitchen called the crime scene kitchen, and there's just remnants of something that was baked there. Go in. How dare you? They go in for 2 minutes.
Sorry. I'm sorry, but you'll talk about this great movie that you're doing. You talk about this award-winning, amazing series. How you love acting, and you get equally excited about crumbs.
I do. Hey, I get to eat like ridiculous. There's some of the stuff that I've eaten. I'm just like, how did I get to this point in my life that I'm
Where do you stand on caramel? How do you feel about caramel?
There's like a dark, there's caramel and caramel, because they call it. I say caramel. None of the people say caramel, and they think, but
it is caramel. You're right.
Yeah. Well, there was a chocolate cake that was infused with caramel, and I was just like, this is. I can die. Anyway.
But they don't say caramel apple. They say caramel apple.
They do. But then there's Curtis Stone is on the show, and he's Australian. And Yolanda Gamp, who is the queen of cakes on Instagram. She's she's Canadian. She has 3 million followers. And so, she's no joke. And they're both. So they say things slightly different than me, and they also have computers in their brains for how this all works. So it's.
Can they look at a pile of crumbs and know how many there are? Like guessing the jelly beans in the jar?
No, that has nothing to do with
with anything. Has nothing to do with anything.
That's just guessing the number of crumbs. What are we talking?
Now, when can I see this show?
Thanks for asking. May 26th, after the finale of The Masked Singer.
Oh my God. So that would make it a Fox, the most popular show in the world.
And then we're going to be on after Gordon Ramsay's Master Chef throughout the summer. So thank you, Fox, for the time slot. God bless you, Charlie Collier.
So is there there's only a couple networks you're not on?
There's one in Croatia I'm not on.
Right.
And San Marino.
That's odd.
Yeah.
You were doing a public access show in San Marino, weren't you?
Yeah, I tried very hard, and it didn't. Never left. It was a version of swap meet.
I like that. I used to swap meat with a kid when I counted.
All right, that was good. I like that one. With a kid?
Well, I was a kid.
Okay.
What kind of meat you got? I got beef jerky. What do you got? I got a Slim Jim. All right, let's swap meat. That's my pitch for ABC.
You should definitely make your next special called Swap Meat.
It's called Swap Meat.
Yeah.
Everything's got to be changed, all vernacular. I want to see you in person when we can. I know you can't because you have 14 shows, many bourbons to sell, gummy worms, that strange glowing thing that you inject into yourself so you can lift cars.
It works.
And God bless your oversized heart, because you know what? That's how much love you have. You need a heart that big.
That is the best tie-in, and that you can sign off there. And now
you're a good man, Joel McHale.
It matches the size of your penis.
I actually have a heart in my penis.
That's amazing.
Yes, this is the sound of my penis because I have a podcast mic. That is
wow.
That's the only talent that I have that I can do that sound, and it is upsetting, and it does not make for a quiet night. Kelly wears earplugs.
Right, and if you have a heart attack down there,
It'd be a heart attack. That's not even a joke. It's not anything. It's not a thing. You walk away from the body. That's not a joke. It wasn't anything. It shouldn't have been said. I know it shouldn't have been said. I'm going to call my therapist. You're going to go do 9 shows and still love your wife because she loves you so much. And just know that she loves you so much only because of the amount of money that you're making, which is huge.
That's why she married me.
But I look forward to seeing you in person. And
yes, let's have a drink or 9.
And maybe some
bourbon.
And maybe we won't drive. Bourbon. I'm not a bourbon guy.
Okay.
But I'll drink it if you got. My wife likes bourbon.
Well, I'll make you your Bellini or whatever you have.
That's what my wife likes. My Bellini. My Bellini has a first name. All right.
Oh,
What? You do commercials every second. Why can't I do an old Oscar Mayer commercial? I mean, who gets hurt?
No one gets hurt.
No.
And it's timely.
Right? No, it's not like Omaha Steaks.
Mm.
I've got a bunch under the desk right now.
And by that you mean?
I'm going to beat my meat. But the thing about steak is stating the obvious from junior high. You knocked that right into the ground.
All right.
I love you.
I love you.
I love you very much. I love Joel McHale. Joel McHale for Emperor.
Good to see you, my friend.
That's my friend. When I was a little kid, my stand-up used to be I have no friends, I have no life, and I live in a moped. It wasn't funny, but I had no friends. I moved a lot. I had some, but then I would move when I was a kid. Joel McHale is one of the dearest people, and he's so funny. He's got those 20 shows you got to watch and go see his movie, which was on demand, which means it'll be on, Apple TV or whatever. And I just love the guy, and I know you guys do too. And so thanks for listening to this indulgent thing that still turns into serious stuff. It does. If we kept going, if we'd done another hour, we probably would have stopped the comedy riffing and talked about what matters in the world and how much pain people are going through. But thank God we did stop when we did. Thank you guys. Rate, review, subscribe. One day I'm going to do this and not say that. What's the difference? It's a podcast. So you want to subscribe to it. You want to download it or listen to it if you like it. And the people I hear from mostly like it. Once in a while, people don't, but what are you going to do? There's stuff I don't like, but I don't tell people. But it's our right to be able to do that. So I'm going to rate this show a 5 out of 5. And Joel McHale, a 6 out of 5 as a wonderful guest and an amazing friend. 7 out of 5 is a friend. 8 out of 5 is funny and charming. And 9 out of 5 with the biggest heart because it's oversized. Take care of yourselves, everybody, and I'll talk to you on the next episode of Bob Saget's Here for You. A lot of love.